So you think you've got Zed's build figured out. You're following the top guides, buying all the right items, but something just feels off. You get deleted in team fights, you can't seem to finish off that beefy fighter, and your damage feels like it falls off a cliff after 25 minutes. Here's why. The truly game-changing builds are being gatekept. The top players are abusing item and rune synergies you've probably never considered, creating a Zed that's way more resilient and dangerous than anything you've been told to build. They want you to build full glass cannon lethality, so you're predictable and easy to shut down. Well, in this guide, I'm pulling back the curtain on the build they don't want you to know about. The secret recipe for unmatched damage and survivability. It's time to forget what you've learned. This is how you really play Zed.
Let's start with the foundation, your runes.
And the first secret is, for most games, you need to drop Electrocute. Yeah, you heard me. Electrocute is the standard, the comfortable, the recommended choice. And that's exactly why it's so predictable. It's great for a quick burst on a squishy who steps out of line, but it gives you nothing once that initial pop is gone. In a meta where fights last longer, Electrocute just becomes a liability. This is where the real insider knowledge begins. The best, most powerful keystone for a dominant Zed is Conqueror. High-level players love this rune because it completely flips Zed's identity from a one-and-done assassin into a sustained damage duelist who can actually survive a fight. Here's the full page they're running and exactly why it's so busted.
For our primary tree, we're going precision.
First up, obviously, is Conqueror. The goal here isn't just the healing. That's a nice little bonus. The real power is the stacking adaptive force. In longer trades, which this build loves, you're not just an assassin anymore. You're a fighter. Suddenly, duels against champions like Yasuo, Sylas, or Irelia aren't coin flips. They're your home turf. While they expect you to run after your first combo, you stick around, fully stacked on Conqueror, and your auto attacks start hitting like a freight train. Next up, presence of mind. We've all been there, that moment in a long fight where you're out of energy. Presence of mind solves that, giving you the energy regen you need to keep the combos flowing and always have enough juice for a W escape.
For the third slot, we take Legend Haste. This one is absolutely non-negotiable. It grants Ability Haste, which is the single most important stat for this build. More haste means more Qs, more Es, and, most importantly, a lower cooldown on your W for constant outplays. Finally, in the precision tree, you'll grab either Last Stand or Cut Down. Last Stand is incredible because this build wants you to be in the middle of the action. You'll often be at lower health, and that extra damage from Last Stand is often the difference between a triple kill and a gray screen. Go with Cut Down if you're up against 2 or more tanks to help you shred right through them. For the secondary tree, we're dipping into sorcery for even more ability haste. The two you have to take are Transcendence and Gathering Storm. Transcendence gives you a nice chunk of haste early on, speeding up your mid-game spike. Gathering Storm is your late-game insurance policy. It makes sure that even while you're building for survivability, your damage never stops scaling, keeping you a major threat all game long. This rune page changes everything. You're no longer just playing for the one-shot. You're playing to win the whole team fight. All right, the main event, the items the pros are keeping quiet about. If you open a standard guide, it'll tell you to rush Yomu's or some other pure lethality item. That's old news. It's a one-dimensional build with no defensive stats that forces you into a single, predictable playstyle. The new way, the secret build, is all about survivability and ability haste without giving up your one-shot power. Your first item in almost every single matchup is Eclipse. There are 2 big reasons for this. First, it still gives you AD and lethality, so your early damage is solid. But the real game changer is the shield. This little shield, which procs after you hit a champ with 2 separate attacks or abilities, is the key to winning trades you have no business winning. It baits people into thinking you're an easy kill only for the shield to pop and completely turn the fight. For boots, it's almost always Ionian boots of lucidity. The ability haste is just too valuable for this strategy. The only time you even think about defensive boots like Merc treads is if you're facing an absurd amount of CC, but even then, the haste is usually better. Your third item makes you a teamfight monster, Spear of Shojin. This is the final piece of the core build, giving you even more health, AD, and a massive amount of ability haste. Its passive amps up your ability damage, making you even more potent. With Eclipse, Black Cleaver, and Spear of Shojin, you're at your absolute strongest. You're surprisingly tanky, you have a shield, and your cooldowns are ridiculously low. You can throw out multiple shadow combos in a single fight, making you an unpredictable and relentless machine. From here, your last couple of items are situational. If they have a lot of shields, Serpent's Fang is an easy choice. Need to block a key spell? Edge of Night is your go-to. If you're snowballing like crazy, Axiom Arc can let you completely take over the map with near-constant ultimates. This 3-item core of Eclipse, Black Cleaver, and Spear of Shojin is the secret sauce. It's the perfect blend of damage, health, and ability haste that turns you from a glass cannon into a durable, high-damage bruiser that nobody ever sees coming. If you want to master a build that will completely change how you play Zed and help you climb, make sure to subscribe for more guides that break down the meta. I'm here to uncover the strategies the pros don't want you to know.
So you've got the runes and items. How do you actually play it? Your entire mindset has to shift. In the early game, you're playing for smart trades and survival. With Conqueror and a Doran's Shield start, you're way tougher than you look. Look for chances to land a WEQ combo and then walk up for an auto or two to stack Conqueror. Don't be afraid of slightly longer trades, especially against other melee champs. The moment they commit, your Conqueror stacks and the Eclipse Shield will give you the edge. You're not just poking anymore. You're fighting for lane dominance.
The mid-game is where you really come alive. Once you have Eclipse and are building Black Cleaver, your power spikes hard. Now you should be actively looking for skirmishes. Your job isn't just to flank and pray for a one-shot on the ADC. You can actually play on the front line. You can ult a key target and, instead of instantly shadowing away, stay in the fight. With the health from your items and the shield from Eclipse, you can survive the initial burst and keep pumping out damage with your low cooldowns. Your W becomes your most important tool, not just for damage, but for repositioning to dodge skills and apply constant pressure. Let's talk team fights. With the old lethality build, you're waiting on the sidelines for the perfect moment. With this bruiser build, you can be the initiator. A great combo is to throw your W forward, immediately ult a high-priority target, and unload your Q and E. As the enemy team turns to focus you, your built-in survivability keeps you alive. By the time your cooldowns reset, which happens fast, you can reactivate your W to either get out or reposition to a new target. It's a much more proactive playstyle that gives you way more control. Here's how to handle different game states. If you're ahead, this build lets you tower dive like a beast. You can ult someone under their turret, delete them, and then use your W shadow that you left safely outside of tower range to get out. The extra health means you can tank a tower shot or two without sweating.
And if you're behind, this build is so much more forgiving than full lethality. Instead of being useless because you can't one-shot anyone, you become a supportive damage dealer. Your new job is to shred armor with Black Cleaver for your ADC and use your E-Slow to peel for your backline. You're still useful even when you're not the star carry, which is something a glass cannon Zed just can't do.
So let's recap the secret. Ditch the predictable electrocute page for the sustained power of Conqueror. And stop rushing pure lethality. Your new core is Eclipse, Black Cleaver, and Spear of Shojin. This is the setup that gives you the perfect mix of damage, survivability, and ability haste. You're no longer playing a feast or famine champion. You're now a versatile and resilient assassin bruiser hybrid who can duel anyone, survive team fights, and stay relevant all game. The days of getting blown up the second you use your ult are over. The frustration of feeling useless in the late game is gone. This is the build that top players have been quietly using to dominate. Now, the secret's out. Take this knowledge, get in game, and show them what Zed is really capable of.